Like I said, this entire sequence is just so weird and fun, and I would also like to point out that this movie opens with a tree lighting ceremony that is ruined by a grumpy man who's been pushed to the outskirts of society. Reminds me of... The Grinch! What makes a movie a Christmas movie to you? Do you have a set list of criteria? Or is it more of a vibes thing? For me, I define a Christmas movie as any movie centered around Christmas that has either themes of family or togetherness. Pretty hard to argue with, right? So, with that in mind, my net for what I consider to be a Christmas movie is pretty wide. Sure, yeah, I love Christmas Vacation, Elf, It's a Wonderful Life, and of course, the best Christmas movie of all time, A Muppet's Christmas Carol. But I also consider movies like Die Hard, or pretty much every movie Shane Black has ever worked on, to be a Christmas movie, but I don't want to talk about any of those movies. No, today I want to talk about what just may be the weirdest Christmas movie and Batman movie ever made, Batman Returns. So with that out of the way, I'm Brandon, and this is Born to Rant. Now, let's talk about the best Christmas movie with a subplot involving child murder.
It was a total attack against kids, the whole movie.
If you somehow made it to my channel and are unaware, Batman Returns is the 1992 follow-up to the 1989 Batman movie, both directed by Tim Burton and starring Michael Keaton. And it is truly one of the weirdest movies ever made. And look, if you want to argue against my previous definition of a Christmas movie, that's fine. Let me throw in a few other Christmas movie tropes this movie has going for it. 1. It's literally set at Christmas. 2. It's about a stressed out assistant with a mean boss who meets a man who tries to get her to quit her job and go away with him. 3. It's also a story about 2 orphans. And 4. It literally opens with a tree lighting ceremony. So there you go. It's got plenty of things going for it. And now I am done defending my decision to call this a Christmas movie. Probably. Anyway, Batman Returns. Seriously, this movie is fucking weird. Let me just give you a rough overview of the plot, and then I'll talk about some of my favorite moments from the movie, and why this is also the weirdest Batman movie ever made. Okay, so the plot of this movie is ridiculous. We've got Max Schreck, played by Christopher Walken. His grand plan for this movie is to recall the mayor of Gotham so that he can get a new power plant built that will allow him to drain Gotham of its surplus energy, which will allow him to charge every person in the city more money for power. I kid you not, that is his actual grand villainous plan for Batman Returns. Right away, we're also introduced to Shrek's newest assistant, Selina Kyle, played by Michelle Pfeiffer. Don't worry, we'll talk more about her performance later. But Selina is right away revealed to be a pretty terrible assistant who asks questions even when it's completely inappropriate. We see how stressed out she is by work right away. I mean, Selina is quite literally a Christmas movie archetype. And her entire arc is that she discovers Shrek's plan, he throws her out of the top window of a massive building, but don't worry, she's brought back to life by the magic of stray cats licking her all over. Anyway, then she becomes a horny BDSM freak who wants to get revenge on Shrek and also kind of generally be bad. Now, this movie actually opens with a clip of Oswald Cobblepot being born to rich parents in a huge house, and this entire opening sequence is so funny and weird. His parents literally keep him in a cage and then throw him into a creek that leads to a sewer and are just like, cool, that's taken care of. And then somehow the kid ends up in the circus. But anyway, that's not even Penguin's main plot. No. At some point, Penguin leaves the circus to live in the sewers of Gotham, and his grand plan is to kill all of the first sons of Gotham because reasons. Now, he does also take a kind of sort of minor detour to run for mayor, but he fucks all that up pretty much immediately. And finally, we've got Bruce Wayne / Batman, and look, he feels like an absolute afterthought in this movie. His really only motivation is to try and hook up with Selina Kyle and stop the bad guys. So that's the rough plot of the movie. It's fucking weird. Alright, let's talk about what I like about this movie. I mean, honestly, I just like how weird it is from start to finish. I mean, it literally opens with a sequence that ends with 2 parents committing infanticide. It is insane. I also really love this whole tree lighting sequence. I like when Max realizes he doesn't have his speech and tells his son, what's her name? Like, he doesn't actually care that he doesn't have it, but he's annoyed and someone has to pay for that. I love how cool it looks when this giant present rolls around the corner and then explodes with circus performers. I love how stupid the bat signal sequence is. Like, what the hell was Bruce doing here? Just quietly contemplating how sad and lonely he is and waiting for crime to happen? That's not very Batman-like, but we'll talk more about that later. I love how Batman takes this dude out with a concrete wall. I love the face that Selina makes when she shocks this dude. Like I said, this entire sequence is just so weird and fun, and I would also like to point out that this movie opens with a tree lighting ceremony that is ruined by a grumpy man who's been pushed to the outskirts of society. Reminds me of the Grinch. This sequence with Shrek in the sewer with the Penguin is awesome too. Specifically when Penguin breaks out. Fred's hand. Like, what? Max had his business partner killed, dismembered, and dumped in the sewer? You know what? Actually, that kind of tracks. Also, when he leaves Max holding the dead hand, it's so goddamn funny. The sequence where Selina gets home and we see how pink her apartment is, it's like the most generic single working girl apartment ever. And it really does a great job of setting up who Selina is before she becomes Catwoman. I also have found it so weird and hilarious that she calls her apartment to leave herself a message, reminding her that she forgot to do something at the office. Like, why not just put it on a post-it note on your desk? But either way, like I said, it does a good job of showing who Selina is before and who she is after. This scene between her and Max really baffles me every time I watch this movie. Like, she's smart. She knows what she's just found. Why does she immediately tell Max she knows? What's her endgame here? Is it blackmail? That just doesn't really feel like her. I also love the way Walken plays this little fake out before he throws Selina out the window. But seriously, what's up with the scene with the cats? I've never understood it. Like, if you're going to give Selina a bizarre supernatural ability, why is it delivered by cats licking her? It makes absolutely no sense. The scene of her getting home and trashing the apartment is so silly. I love the way she hyper-focuses on sewing the suit together. I also love the implication that she created this entire suit from one leather jacket in one night. Honestly, every scene that Selina is in has Michelle Pfeiffer absolutely owning every bit of it. She's just undeniable in this role. Like, how cool is it that she whipped all 4 of the heads off of these mannequins in one take on her first try? That's up there with Sigourney Weaver making this shot in Alien Resurrection. Okay, I feel like I haven't really given enough love to Danny DeVito as the Penguin yet. This is still my favorite Penguin, even though the show The Penguin is objectively the best live-action Penguin story that's been told. But seriously, I love how insanely evil his plan is, and that we're not really given an explanation for him wanting to murder kids other than because he's mad at his parents for trying to kill him. The entire side plot with him trying to become mayor is fucking insane too. Like when he bites this dude's nose. Also, is it possible not to cringe when Max Shrek says, "Unlimited poontang"? The scene between him and Catwoman is so bizarre, and he's being so just gross, and she's like, dude, I'm just here because I want to kill Batman. This is also where we get Michelle Pfeiffer's second coolest one-take stunt in this movie, where she kept a live bird in her mouth for 5 seconds before letting it fly out. Absolutely insane and disgusting, but it fully works for the moment. One thing that really, really works in this movie is the chemistry between Pfeiffer and Keaton. I fully buy these two insane people being absolutely obsessed with one another. I also just really love the scene towards the end where Bruce and Selina realize who the other person actually is. They're both so heartbroken. They just really sell this moment here. This entire sequence where Penguin's goons dismantle the Batmobile is very cool, but has also always bothered me. I just don't like how easy it is for them to get through the security and tear the Batmobile apart. But it does lead to the most ridiculous scene in the movie where Danny DeVito is stuffed into this rocking horse style Batmobile. I love the way the van he's in is shaking too as he's throwing his whole body weight around. But this leads to what is hands down my favorite moment in the movie, where Bruce Wayne scratches a CD to loop a clip of the Penguin talking shit about Gotham. Even as a 6-year-old kid, I knew it didn't work like that. And trust me, I tried. After Penguin's mayoral dreams are dashed, he just fully loses it and goes back into full child-killing mode, which leads to one of the most bizarre finales in any movie ever. So Penguin's plan is to kidnap and murder all of the first sons of Gotham, whatever that means, and then use radio-controlled penguins to launch rockets all over Gotham to kill 10,000 people. Batman quickly stops the kids from getting kidnapped, but the penguins turn into more of a ticking clock situation. At the same time, Shrek has been thrown in a cage by Penguin, which brings Catwoman into the mix. You'd be forgiven for not noticing, considering she has dozens of chances to kill him throughout the movie, but apparently her big plan is to get revenge on Shrek for killing her. I do love the way this scene plays out though, with her making out with and electrocuting Shrek. This moment where Shrek asks Bruce why he's dressed as Batman is legitimately one of the biggest laughs in the movie for me. And finally, the last shot of this movie is one of my favorite studio note shots of all time. We tilt up through the city, we see Catwoman stand, but what the hell is she standing on? Like truly one of the dumbest studio notes to make it into a final movie. So earlier, I defined a Christmas movie as any movie set at Christmas that has themes of family or togetherness. Batman Returns is definitely set at Christmas, and it is absolutely a movie about family and togetherness. First, Penguin's entire plot revolves around family in one way or another, whether that's him trying to find his real parents, or kind of realizing his real family are his circus goons, or the fact that he wants to, kill children. Also, this side plot with Penguin wanting to kill all the first sons of Gotham sounds a little bit like a Bible story to me. I know that's not technically a Christmas story, but I'm counting it. This is a Christmas movie, okay? You've also got the stuff with Shrek and his son. Minor stuff, but they do both sacrifice themselves for one another throughout the movie. As far as togetherness goes, like I said, Selina is absolutely a Christmas movie trope, and her and Bruce finding one another is also straight out of a Hallmark movie. As a movie, this thing is bonkers, but really fun and weird. But how about as a Batman movie? I kind of think this is one of the worst live-action Batman movies as far as servicing the character goes. We don't even get our first proper scene with Bruce Wayne until 35 minutes into the movie. Sure, we see Batman in the end of the tree lighting sequence, but he doesn't really talk or have any impact on the plot. He jumps into the fight, fights the bad guys, and then we don't see him again for another 20 minutes. And when we do see him again, it's not even Batman, it's Bruce Wayne watching the Penguin on TV. My big problem with this movie has always been that Batman isn't the main character. He isn't even really the second lead. His only purpose in this movie is to be into Selina and fight the bad guys. And don't get me wrong, that's no knock against Keaton. I love Michael Keaton. I'm just always happy to see him in a movie, even in The Flash. And I mean, Tim Burton openly has said that Batman is the least interesting character in the Batman world to him, so, I get it. But come on, man, at least try and make the hero kind of a protagonist. Bruce doesn't even really go on much of an arc in this movie. His big arc is being open to being in love with Selina, and that's pretty much it. And realistically, he ends the movie the same place he starts it at, alone. And I really don't want to be one of those people that complains about screen time, but he doesn't even have the most screen time in his own movie. Both Penguin and Catwoman get more screen time than Batman, and I just don't want that in a Batman movie. Call me crazy, but I'd like to see Batman. But seriously, let me know, what do you think? Is Batman Returns a bad movie? Do you agree that it's a Christmas movie? Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you've made it this far into the video, wow, thank you. I love you. Okay, bye-bye.